Hey guys, just wanted to pop in at the start of this video here and I guess apologize for the lack of uploads over the last couple months. Normally I'm not very consistent at uploading anyway, but ever since like the end of April or the mid of April, I haven't uploaded at all, and I just wanted to give you guys the reasons why, I guess, so I feel a little better about it. First off, Nichi, the person who I was working with who made the Mega mod, has actually stepped away from the internet for a bit to kind of, collect himself. Which I'm very okay with. That's a very good thing to do. It's always good to step away from things when you're not feeling like yourself. Secondly, my entire family ended up catching COVID, so I was actually in the hospital for a bit, ended up getting pneumonia, and I actually, I wasn't doing so hot for a bit there. So, after a very lengthy recovery process, I am back to pretty much normal and feeling like myself again, and feeling good enough to make content. So, while again it may be inconsistent and sporadic and about random topics and things people might not care to see, I don't care. I'm here to make stuff that I enjoy making. So, just wanted to say sorry for the lack of content and not apologize for the influx of garbage content. Yeah, enjoy the video. You're all pretty poggers, I must say. Alright, what is going on, cute? Back here with a barely requested video. I just kind of had the idea and wanted to make this, honestly. As you can tell by the title, this is going to be a tier list of all the Cube World specializations. I'm not going to be going super in-depth with each of them, because I'm saving that for another video, but I will need to explain myself for a couple of the ratings, so I will kind of go into depth on a few of them. Quickly, before we get into it, I want to set straight a couple things so no one gets confused. These 4 here are classes. These 8 here are specializations. Each class has 2 specializations. I might mix up the words a few times, so I just wanted to clear that up now so no one gets confused while I'm ranting. Secondly, you might be wondering why you're inclined to trust my rankings on this list. Well, as of right now, I have 272 hours in Cube World, with nearly every specialization being played to over level 20, so give or take anywhere from 20 to 30 hours per one. Obviously, as with all tier lists, this is merely my opinion and not to be taken as gospel. At the end of the day, play what you like and what suits your playstyle the best. Now let's upset some people, shall we? As all good tier lists do. I'm going to be starting from the bottom and working my way up to what I believe to be the strongest so that you can hear my reasoning as you're yelling at your monitor or mobile device. So, the first class that I'm going to be putting here, which may actually come as a surprise to people, is the Sniper specialization. This is one of the ones I need to kind of go more in depth with to make my point, so let's get to that. I have no idea what it is about this class that appeals to people as much as it does. Nearly every person I catch streaming this game on Twitch is playing the Sniper, and I always have to ask myself why. My experience with the Sniper was the clunkiest and least satisfying of all the specializations this game offers. And the main thing is that the Sniper has an identity crisis in Cube World. Let's start with the concept. The entire point of a sniper in games is burst damage from a distance, right? But in a game where every single melee enemy's goal is simply running you down, and every ranged enemy will pinpoint where you are instantly, how can you be a sniper? Well, Wale figured stealth, and while you're stealthed, you gain a lot of crit. Perfect, right? Well, not so much. Since you have no way to immobilize enemies and stealth doesn't matter once an enemy has been struck, you're still caught out in situations with higher HP enemies. And guess who has the better loot drops and protects the artifacts, the things that cause you to actually level up? Bosses, which are, you guessed it, very high HP enemies. The only benefits the stealth gives is it forces ranged enemies to actually get closer to you to search for you before continuing to attack you. And yeah, you can obliterate basically any target that isn't a boss once you have decent gear, but any other specialization can do that, but better. The next issue we have is the sniper's passive. It should have been swapped with the ranger's other specialization's passive, the scout. The sniper's passive makes consecutive hits ramp up attack speed, while the scout's passive gives any hit a chance to make the next right click an instant charge. You see the issue? The sniper being able to instantly full charge right click would make the stealth function actually usable in the middle of combat, and since being at full stealth means more crit, this passive makes so much more sense on the sniper, but it's on the scout for some reason. And honestly, I haven't even addressed the biggest issue yet with the sniper, which is its R shadow shooter. This ability is downright garbage. I'm not even gonna make an argument for it. It is hands down the most inconsistent thing you will ever experience with a class in this game. The basic attacks of it don't register half the time, it doesn't copy you charging your M2 half the time. If it does, then it seems to be a coin flip if it actually fires the M2 or not, and if it even does any damage. It's just overall awful. I'd say swap the scout and the sniper's R2 because that makes more sense, but no specialization should be plagued with this ability. Sniper gets an F tier for sure. Now that we got the worst out of the way, the rest of the specializations are mostly on an even playing field, which makes sense in a game where each specialization is tasked with doing the same thing. You'd figure they'd all be pretty decent at it. Next up, we will be jumping to the Rogue class to talk about the Assassin specialization. In a turn of events that is surprising to basically no one, the other character that uses stealth is lower on the list, and while the Assassin is much better paired with stealth than the Sniper, this specialization still falls below the mark when you put it up next to the others. Their middle click is a unique and neat idea on paper, but kind of falls flat very early and very late in regions. Their R is much better for stealth, allowing you to sneak in and kill a whole boss with no one else knowing you're there, but since you need to kill everything when you're in dungeons for doors to open, it kinda ruins the use of the stealth anyway. So, I feel the Assassin fits comfortably at a C tier. Next, we've got the Warrior's specialization, the Guardian. There's nothing really too crazy about this one in either direction. The Guardian does exactly what their title says. They guard. They aren't really bad in any situation due to being able to block for a long time. They have good sustain with their passive and their R, Heroic Shout. They also aren't incredible in most situations due to a lack of overall DPS when you compare them to the others. The Guardian is essentially a violent cutting board. For those reasons, I'd throw the Guardian at the bottom of B tier. If you're playing multiplayer, the Guardian would also move up to a low A tier, I'd say, due to being able to taunt enemies and take aggro, but since this is strictly based off of solo capability, they'll sit in B tier. Moving onward, but not so much upward, we have the Rogue's other specialization, the Ninja. One of the more satisfying specializations to pick from, I'd say. The Ninja is a pseudo-ranged character, meaning they are melee, but they also are very good from a distance. They're capable of tossing several high-damage shurikens from a distance with their shift left click, and laying down a suppressive fire amount of them with their R ninjutsu. This specialization can play nicely from afar and up close, but since the Ninja lacks overall sustainability and for some reason has no middle click ability, I have no idea why, it's the only specialization without a middle click, it sits at the top of B tier for me. I would accept the argument that it's low A tier, but since no one's here to argue, besides me, B tier it is. Now, we're getting to the more serious players in the game, starting off with the Mage's Fire specialization. This is the glass cannon of Cube World. The Fire Mage has some of the highest overall DPS in the game, with the lowest HP. Its R, Fire Missiles, is actually the highest damaging ability in the game by a wide margin. The downside being you're the squishiest spec, and your only means of kiting enemies is to spend all 100 of your mana to teleport a short distance away. And again, since you'll be fighting large HP targets, that kind of kiting can only do so much for you. But again, your damage is consistently great. With that being said, I think I can stick the Fire Mage at the bottom of A tier. Next up is probably my personal favorite to play with, so it might be a little biased. The Ranger's other specialization, the Scout. This is the Ranger's saving grace, the specialization that actually feels fun to play. It's got great damage from a distance, great fighting capability close range, good mobility, and incredible crowd control with its R. The Scout has it all. The only thing this specialization is lacking is sustainability, but it's so good at everything else that it doesn't even really require it. Top of A tier for sure, but maybe even a low S tier in the right hands. Now, you remember all that stuff that I just said about the Scout? Take that and add crazy sustainability to it, and our one S tier class? That's right, you guessed it, the Berserker. The Berserker has amazing DPS, amazing sustainability, incredible crowd control, gap closers, mobility, a large health pool, the ability to block. I mean, honestly, what else do you need in a character? S tier all day for sure. Alright guys, and that is it, so thank you for watching my tier list. Oh wait, that's right. It was so powerful I couldn't even conceive of it for a second. Anyone who has played this game for more than a few hours with each of the specializations should know the Water Mage is the most OP thing in the game. It shouldn't even be in Cube World. Everything the other specializations do, the Water Mage does it better, because the Water Mage isn't even playing the same game. You have a built-in burst tick heal for yourself and others that is on basically a 2-second cooldown, as well as a strong tick heal that stacks with your damage and ramps up with consecutive hits. It makes this specialization literally ignore several game mechanics. Potions? Pathetic. Getting stunned? Oh no, I fell into my healing pool left over from when I was slapping you into oblivion. Multiple enemies chasing you? Deploy artillery bubbles. Stand near them for an instant full HP and enemy disintegration. You get the point. Water Mage is leagues beyond S tier, but since this is the highest I can put it, tippity top of S tier. Alrighty loves, I think that just about does it. You guys have any thoughts? Think Sniper's the best despite their poor design? Maybe the Water Mage is nothing but a wet fart to you? Let me know with a like or dislike in a comment. Let's discuss things. I appreciate your time, and as always, thanks for watching. And you're cute.